All right, hey everyone, Jedi Weller here, and we are getting ready for a new live stream. So we're just setting everything up, and what we're going to do today is we're going to actually go over the world's feature that we're building out, that the team is building out. And yeah, we'll questions, comments. We'll talk through some of the different features and functionality. Would love to get your feedback. We had a live stream earlier today that went really, really well. We actually had, I think, like 140 people on, which was awesome. And so yeah, we're just doing it again because I know not everyone is available at 12 o'clock noon Eastern. So yep, that's what we're doing here. And so with that said, let me just get set up, and we will get the link out for everyone. So just give me a sec and we will do that. Okay. All right, here we go. So we've got this, we've got that, and we're going to share the link. So one of the cool things that we did recently is we just put in the ability to actually give what we call it, like a live events in the actual app. So if I'm not crazy here, let me pull up the app itself so I can see if this actually happens. All right, so we're going to say world's discussion happening now live. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and submit that. And we should be able to happens. See. Yep, there it is. Cool. Okay, awesome. So let me exit the app, reload it, and yeah, boom, we got the live update. Awesome. It's in the real app. It's the one I'm showing right now on the screen is the internal QA build, but in the real app, you guys would probably see this. Where's my camera? I think it's in there, right? You'll see a little banner right here, and it says World's Discussion happening now live. So that is exactly what we are doing. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I'm going to put it in Discord as well for all of our Discord friends and family here. So let me post it in the discussion thread. All right. So hey, I'll say, hey everyone. I just posted up another live link for anyone who couldn't make it earlier. Cool. All right, there we go. So we got that, and then now let me see where my chat stream is here. Okay, I'll move it over here. All right, awesome. There we go. So we got the chat up, and now we will sync everyone in. All right, so while we are doing that, let me just move this guy over a little bit. And I'm going to put the chat window up here as well. There we go, so I can see it. I don't think you guys can actually see the chat window, but that's okay. Cool. All right, so earlier today what we were doing is we were actually creating a world. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to continue that. We were creating Earth because, Earth is a good place to live. And we were putting in some locations. So we put in, we put in Mount Olympus, and we put in the underworld, and we also put in Middle Earth as well. Okay. So essentially what we're doing here with worlds is we're trying to allow the community to actually create like an entire world, and we've added a couple pieces of functionality to help this. So first things first, if you go into a world, if you actually create a new world, you'll be able to add what we call world locations. So these are essentially locations that are then added to a world. Once you add a location to a world, it unlocks additional capabilities to it. Same thing with the famous characters and with famous artifacts. So if we think about it from like a Greek mythology perspective, using that as an example, a famous character would be Zeus or Hades or Poseidon, right? They're all very, very famous characters, and they live in a location. Zeus lives in Mount Olympus. Hades lives in the underworld. So, they're all like they have a particular location, but they're still famous, so everyone knows about them. So that's what we mean when we say famous characters. They can be legendary or non-legendary; it doesn't really matter. But yeah, those are the famous characters. And if we go inside of a world here, we can see that there's characters that are local to that world. So we've got, I think we got Zeus here, which is this guy, and then we have Poseidon, which is this guy, and then we've got Kronos as well, which is this guy right here. So so we got these 3 characters in the location here, and we can also add weapons. So I'm going to go ahead and create add a weapon. Oh, I already have one. It's for my summon library, which is the Thunderbolt for Zeus. So I added that to this location. We could add armor, and if we wanted to add armor, we would just create some new armor. So I'm going to say a magical breastplate here, a breastplate that is used by a Greek god. Okay, let's do that. Make it Ultra HD, and we'll go ahead and summon it. I forgot. They did not create the armor yet. Oh, that's okay, because Worlds is still under development. So if the armor price was already implemented, then you'd be able to actually summon it right here. But yeah, so same thing with items and armor and weapons. You can basically create them, and as you create them, then you can add them to the actual world itself. Now, the cool thing about Worlds and about actually adding the characters and everything to a world is that you can, timeout. You can actually equip your character with things. So let me pull up this other screen, because I don't know if the dev team is actively working on this build right now. So let's pull it up on here. We'll pull up the designs here. Okay. Now I'll show you guys this. Let me just check the chat. All right, so we've got, let's see, let's go over to Worlds here. Hey everyone, I see a couple people joining in. Hello, hello. All right, so so one of the new features that we have built in is character equipment. So you can see it right here on this screen. So essentially, right now, like when you create a character, it has a backstory, it has information, it has stats, and all that kind of thing. But it doesn't have any like actual inventory or equipment. We're slowly changing that. So we're slowly adding some of these new capabilities and new features. So you can see here that once you link a character to a world, it's going to open up this equipment tab, and then you'll actually be able to add like weapons, armor, items and spells all to that character. So the character will know about the things that it has, like the actual equipment that it has on. So that's going to be a cool little change, right? And I think a couple people are going to like that. All right, so let's go ahead and go back here. Let's see, what else do we want to see? What else would we like to see? Let's see, we got the world locations. All right, here we go. All right, let me zoom into that. Okay, and then here's like the description of locations versus famous characters and artifacts. Basically, a world is comprised of many locations. Each location has its own set of local characters, equipment, landmarks, and more. You can customize each location after adding it to a world. So hopefully that is a self-explanatory kind of concept there. And then, as I was saying earlier, if you missed it, the famous characters. So famous characters are known far and wide throughout your world. Adding a person to the famous character list makes it so that many other characters will have heard about them generally. For these people, their reputation precedes them. Okay, and same thing for artifacts. So if we went and we did like a Lord of the Rings reference here, imagine that Gandalf was a famous character. Everyone knows about Gandalf, right? But Frodo Baggins, in the very beginning, at least of the storyline, no one really knew about him. He was just from the Shire, and he wasn't well known. So maybe Gandalf would be a famous character for you, but Frodo would not. Okay, so that's kind of like how we are breaking that up there. and we just saw, hey, Marcio, good to see you. Good to see you. All right. So, yeah, and for everyone in the stream here, if you guys have any questions about worlds or any of the new functionality we're building, please let us know. Just send me a little comment here. Yeah, because basically this is a nice, a little demo for everyone. So we are demoing this out, and we're also seeing how the new functionality for the discussion is happening in the application, because we just built that out. So that's what we're doing here. All right, so let's see here. What else should we talk about? So inside, so inside a local, inside a location, a world location, one of the questions that we're asking ourselves right now is how much should characters know about the outside world? And we'd love to get your guys' feedback about that, because this is kind of a big feature. And it's really important. You know, like, think conceptually. If Zeus is in Mount Olympus, obviously Zeus is going to know everything there is about Mount Olympus, right? You know, he knows about Hera, he knows about Aphrodite, he knows about, you know, like the lay of the land up there. And Hades, conversely, knows everything about the underworld, you know, because Hades lives in the underworld. So if we go over to the underworld here, let me click on it. You know, we can see we got Hades in here. We've got the three-headed dog. We can add some more characters. So Hades knows everything about the underworld. But one of the questions that we had earlier is, how much should a character in one location know about characters from other locations? You know, because think about it, Frodo doesn't know Gandalf until Gandalf actually went to the Shire, right? And so how much should, like, people know about the other locations in the world around them? I don't know if anyone, you know, has any thoughts on that, but that's one of the biggest things that we're trying to figure out right now. And yeah, would love to get your guys' thoughts on that, because yeah, we definitely need to figure that out. All right, so while we do that, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to start adding some more summons. So let's see. We've already got Zeus and the three-headed dog. Let me see. I'm going to pull up ChatGPT and figure out who else lives in the underworld and who else lives in Mount Olympus. Let's fill in Mount Olympus first. So, okay, let's go to Mount Olympus here. And we've got, let's see, Zeus, Poseidon, and who is this? I think this was a Titan. Oh yeah, this was Kronos. So let's add some of the female characters here. All right, I'm going to summon a new character, and let's do Hera. Hera is queen of the gods, goddess of marriage and family. Okay. And we're going to do this. We'll make her a legendary. Okay. Cool. All right. And then while she is loading, let's see. Who should we do next? Maybe we can do Athena. Oh, yeah, because Athena is the god of wisdom and warfare, I think, right? All right. So let's see. So once Hera is done, we will move over to Athena. Okay. All right, our summon is ready. Add character. Let's see. Summon library. There we go. There's Hera. Hey, Hera. Let's save her. By the way, it's a little bit slow because you know, we're still building out the functionality. I think the dev team said that we're about 50% of the way done. So, you know, we'll check that out. All right, we got Hera, and then let's add another character here. I'm sorry, that was Hera, so we'll do Athena next. All right, and Athena is the goddess of wisdom, warfare, and crafts. I didn't know she was the goddess of crafts. All right, that's pretty cool. All right, so let's summon her. And we'll go ahead and we'll wait for that guy to happen. Cool. All right, let's see. So we got Athena, Hera, and then I'm just looking at my list here. Maybe Aphrodite. We should probably do Aphrodite next. All right. Aphrodite, and okay, so Athena. Let's actually test out if we can do two at once. So, Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty. For everyone who's just joining in, we are just showcasing some of the new worlds functionality that's under development. About 50% of the way done. Hopefully we'll have the first beta in maybe 2 weeks-ish. I think the dev team was probably going to yell at me for saying 2 weeks-ish, but I'm thinking it's probably going to be like around 2 weeks. We'll see. I'm not quite sure. We will see. All right, there we go. So we got Aphrodite and Athena. Let's see if we can add both of them at once. So let's click save here and see what happens. I don't think we've actually tested that out yet. So it might work, it might not work. We'll see. And by the way, everyone, so we just started doing the YouTube Lives. And so, yeah, if you can, please like and subscribe. The marketing team tells me not to say that every couple of minutes here. Because basically what we're doing is we're building up the the YouTube Live community. We want to do more of these events. That way we can actually talk directly with you guys. We had a great turnout last time we did the webinar, which was a couple weeks ago. And yeah, so we'll definitely love to do that. Oh, we got an issue here. Let's see. Oh, we reached a maximum number of characters. All right, so let's just add one here. We'll add Aphrodite. Marcio, do you know, do we have the ability to actually remove someone's planned out? I'm not sure. Okay, there we go. All right, so we've got, all right, so now we have our world. We've got 5 famous characters. We have 3 world locations here. And yeah, you can see that inside each location, you can have additional characters, additional weapons, additional armor, that kind of thing. Now, these limits here, it's not going to be limited to 5 for everyone. Essentially, what we're going to do is we're going to add this to the different tiers. So, free users is probably going to be 5 as a limit. We're going to add a new package plan. We haven't determined the exact pricing yet. It's going to depend on what our hosting costs are, but we're looking at trying to create a lightweight plan for everyone. That way, it's more of like a pay-as-you-go, which we're calling starter here. So it doesn't include a ton of monthly mana, but it does allow you to unlock more images per summon, a lot more chat memories. Some more world limits, etc. Because essentially what happens is with the world limits, when we link all these things together, every time someone's using it, it's we have to reference all this data, right? And that's a lot of data to reference. When we pass it into the AI, it's called extra context, and we actually get charged for that extra context, which is why we have to pass those costs through to you. We'd love to keep everything for free, but obviously we have to pay for the bill somehow, right? So that's kind of like how context works. And actually, I know we've had a lot of questions about context. So one of the things we're also trying to do is we're also trying to add in this context bar or context meter, however you want to call it, where we're kind of explaining to you guys exactly how context works and giving you more control over it. So we have, we can see here that inside a chat, this is just, like chat with a character. We've added these extra fields here. So the AI context bar is going to show you how much context or how many tokens are being used in your conversation. So the way these big AI companies, because we're not a big AI company, right? We're just a small little mom and pop shop. But the big AI companies, how they work is they charge us for the number of tokens that are sent with a message to to the provider, and then when they return it as well. And so the number of tokens is based upon the base prompt, which is how we structure that initial communication. It's going to include the context of the character. So, like, let's say you have Zeus, you're talking with Zeus. Well, it needs to know who Zeus is. It needs to know the stats that you have, your backstory, that kind of thing. And then the instructions and knowledge. So these are both actually new. So instruction, let's talk about instructions first. So instructions is the style of speaking. Instructions, the first one is the style of speaking. So we wanted to break this down into like different mini sets of instructions. Right now in the app, I think if you look at it, it just has one category. Let me just do a random chat here on my phone. Yeah, so right now, like in your app, if you go to chat settings, you'll see it says memory and instructions, and you can edit it, and it's just that one field there, right? But that doesn't really give you a lot of flexibility. It also doesn't allow creators to, really like separate what they want their character to do. It's kind of all lumped together. So we separated that out in this. And so what you're going to have is you're going to have your memories, and then you're going to have your instructions. So instructions would be like, I want this character to always be flirtatious, or I want this character to always be rude, or to always be happy or joyful, right? It's going to allow you to set kind of, their personality, their style of speaking, what type of emotional responses they have. And then you can write additional instructions as you see fit. And you'll come up with a bunch of like 1,000 different things for this, because we've seen really creative people in the community here. So this is just kind of like a general place. So you'll be able to set all these. Now that's the creator of the actual character, but the user, right? Like the viewer, like a person who just wants to engage with someone else's character, you can choose to turn these things on and off. And this is actually from what you guys requested a couple weeks ago. We had another live webinar, and you guys actually like said, hey, it would be nice if we could control this a little bit. So we added that in. All right, so that's instructions. And then there's world knowledge. So for world knowledge, what we did here is we basically said that when you put a character inside the world, especially in their location, they should know about a lot of the stuff in their location. Again, Lord of the Rings reference, Frodo should probably know about the Shire, like in the people inside the Shire. So he would know about that. But the more that the characters know about, the higher the AI cost. And so not everyone wants to, to have that broader experience, or maybe not be able to afford it for every single character. So we're giving you guys the ability to turn them on and off, so that way you can actually control your token count, throughout your messages. Okay. So hopefully that's going to be helpful for everyone. And yeah, if you have any questions about that, let me know. Let me just check the chat here. Cool. Okay. And Marcio said, yeah, it is planned, but not yet implemented. All right. Perfect. Thanks, Marcio. All right, cool. So we talked about the knowledge, we talked about the chats, and let's see, what else? Yeah, I'm trying to remember what all we talked about during this morning's live, this morning's YouTube live, because we had a ton of people in it asking a bunch of questions, but there was a lot of echo. It was because of, I think it was actually my fault. I had the wrong headphones and mic combination on. But so I'm just trying to go over everything that we went through earlier today and answer any questions that may have come up. Let's see. There's also a couple other things that we're going to introduce, which are kind of like nice to haves. Let me go over here. And where are they? Let me see. I think it's on the summons. Yeah, here. So this is just kind of like a housekeeping, ease of use type improvement. But you see here that we've actually put these drop down like accordion style components in. So the profile of your characters will still have backstory, alignment, stats, etc. But now you'll actually be able to quickly like expand or collapse each of the individual sections. We think that's going to be pretty helpful. So yeah, I figured you guys would like that. And I was trying to think. I think that's pretty much it, guys. I don't think there's much else that we need to cover. So those are the main features and functionality. Worlds is coming. It's basically 50% done. 40 to 50%. I always like to, add an extra 10%. But yeah, it's around 40-50% done. We're looking to have the first beta available for our beta users probably in about 2 weeks from now, and we'll probably do a couple more of these like live streams to just show you guys what's going on, show you the latest, and yeah, if you have any questions or anything along those lines, we'll answer those questions as we go. So yeah, thanks everyone, and we will see you